some signs of a turnaround. Industrial output in August grew by 2.7%, reversing the trend of contraction that we'd seen in the previous 2 months. Hello and welcome. You're with We Mean Business. I'm Shweta Rajpal-Kohli. On the show today, we're asking if we're going to see further growth momentum picking up in industrial output activity here on. Let me introduce our guests on the show. We have Madan Sabnavis, Chief Economist of CARE Ratings, joining us from Mumbai. Also Nasser Munjee, Chairman of the Development Credit Bank, also joins us from Mumbai. And Mr. A K Bhattacharya, Editor of the Business Standard, will be also with us shortly. Let me first start by giving you some basic reactions to those encouraging industrial output numbers that came out today. Let's listen in.
The pickup will be higher in the coming months for two reasons. One, there is an actual pickup in production. Second, the last year during this period there was a decline, and therefore the base effect will also help. The base effect as well as the improved performance of some of the industries will help to push up the growth rate of manufacturing in the coming months.
Another, I think, important thing which was actually visible from the core sector numbers themselves was the fact that coal production showed a fairly strong bounce in this particular month, which is good, and I think it's showing up in the mining sector. So overall, I think the numbers are better than what we had anticipated, though largely to a large extent on account of favorable base effect. But also, I think going by the numbers of the last couple of months, it does seem that the bottoming out, the economic activity bottoming out has already happened. Now, recovery might take time. Recovery will certainly take more time, but it seems that things are not deteriorating any further.
This number is clearly a positive coming from capital goods. Consumption has shown a positive turnaround also, which is good news as for this month. We need to see how it sustains over the next few months. As I said, festive season would have support. So overall for the year, we could still look at a number which is around 2%. The latest reforms definitely will have some positives to take on in terms of the last quarter activity. And as such, I think we still remain pretty positive on growth coming around 5.7% for the fiscal year.
On the overall IIP numbers, 2.7 is a clear-cut positive number. Unlike the last month, I would have told 0.1, 0.2 is no positive or no negative. It could have been manipulated by anybody. So without that manipulation, it is looking like it's a positive number. There is one thing which is quite negative, which is not so heartening. It's about the consumer goods sector growing only by 5%, and also the basic goods and intermediary goods having maybe 1.7 and 2.5% growth, which is a retardation. If a consumption doesn't pick up in the country, which my earlier speaker was talking about, then we are in for trouble.
Investment thought process which was under freezer for some time, now people have started thinking about it because all the reforms the government has started doing about it. The government has also started talking about single window clearance, so faster clearance. That has really energized the entrepreneurs in the country, and they've started thinking that the things are looking up. Then they should think of setting up new projects. The projects which are on hold, they should start working on it. And there is also a feel that going forward, the interest rate will go down, the liquidity will increase, so the money supply will increase, the money will be available. So people have started thinking about making more investment and started working on drawing board for this purpose.
All right, things seem to be looking up and encouraging numbers out there, but is the trend here to stay? Let's get our panelists to answer that question. Mr. Nasser Munjee, your take on whether this is really a trend?
I'm very positive for various different reasons. I think the numbers you see today may not be a long-term trend, but there are reasons why the environment, the enabling environment has improved. I think since Chidambaram took office at the Finance Ministry, there have been much more positive statements right across the board on the economy. I look at a distinction between reforms, which are very often talked about, and economic management. Economic management does not necessarily need reform. I think the problem that we are facing is one of economic management, and unless we get consumer-led growth, we are not going to see sustained growth in production.
All right, that's an important point out there. Let me ask Mr. Bhattacharya about whether manufacturing as a component of the overall industrial output is something that we need to closely monitor and watch out for. That's something that seems to be clearly showing a trend of picking up, and about 3 to 4% growth in manufacturing. Is that something that will be good enough?
Well, I agree with you that manufacturing has picked up somewhat. But I think, as always, the devil is in the detail. The manufacturing has picked up largely because the slowdown in the capital goods sector, the fall in the capital goods production has actually slowing down. In a sense, that is improving.
Right.
So instead of, let's say, last 11 months, except barring 1 month, which is February or March, you have seen contraction in the capital goods sector.
Month after month.
Month after month.
Right.
This is the first month where you have seen a contraction again of only 1.5%.
Which is lesser than what we've seen.
What we saw earlier. It was 4.5% in July, and it was 24% in June.
Why is capital goods being such a laggard?
Now that is what I think is the problem in this industrial growth number.
Right.
Because if you don't see expansion in the capital goods sector soon enough, you are actually indicating a scenario in which your investments are not taking place in the country. In the economy.
Absolutely.
Now, if investments don't take place, you actually do not create a sustainable base for a higher economic growth in the coming months. So, I think, yes, numbers are better. 2.7% industrial growth for August is better than what it was earlier.
And better than what most analysts had expected also.
Right. But capital goods sector is still a cause for concern. If the contraction doesn't convert itself into positive growth, then I would imagine that we still have cause for concern on the economic front.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.